One thing I've gradually learned to do over time in building memory palaces in virtual reality is to use spatially representative markers to help plan out a space, then remove them and put in the final objects. I'll start by pre-planning the memory palace, usually by sketching out a rough layout on paper. Then I go into our software and I create floors and walls that are about the same size as the objects I want to put into the memory palace. This makes it easy to test out the layout very quickly. Then I can move things around if I need to and completely reorganize it if the layout doesn't work in space the way I thought it would on paper. One of the things I like to do is use the pre-built memory structures to help make sure I'm creating spaces of the right size and shape. For example, if I know I'm going to need a room with 10 objects in it, I can put down 2 quincunxes and then build a room around those quincunxes, or even just sketch out a floor beneath them that's the right size, and then I can move that around and get a sense for how it sits within the space. Another thing I like to do is mark out the center and angles within the memory palace. This is a feature I hope we can add to the software in the future, but for the time being it's a small extra step at the beginning of the building process that can save a lot of time later on. What I do is on opening a new memory palace, I stretch a wall from one corner to the other. Then I duplicate this wall and rotate it 90 degrees to create an X. This gives me the center point. I then can create another X out of this one to give me the center of each straight side of the memory palace. In the premium version of Munx VR, you can increase the build size of the memory palace. When you do this, you can also scale up this structure so that you have some guidelines to work with when sketching out your space. Experientially, it's completely different mapping out with 3D objects inside of a space in virtual reality to trying to sketch out the layout of a memory palace on paper. I usually find that I need to build a memory palace twice. The first time just to get a sense for where everything is going to go and how it should be positioned within the space. The second time, I can build from the ground up really precisely and make sure that everything looks good and has all the right textures and design elements. The more I get used to building memory palaces in virtual reality, the better I get at seeing 5 steps or 10 steps ahead, so I can plan the space mentally in my own mind before realizing it within the virtual space itself.